Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today. So, I'm Aureline, the co-founder and chief climate officer of Open Forest Protocol, and I'll show you today how we can empower humanity to value nature at scale. So, before we start, let's imagine a world. Take a step back and imagine a world where nature-based solutions would be profitable, where you would have nature restoration as an attractive business model. So you would say, okay, I want to open a coffee shop, or I want to grow a forest, and you'd have the option. And also a world where companies with externalities would proactively reduce them, of course, but also invest in nature restoration, because we have so much to do in the next few years. And so right now, the way that we have to give value to nature is through carbon credits. So it's maybe not the best option that we have, but it's an option and a system that has been working for the past 20 years and more. And with the innovation and the technology that we have today, there's so much potential to improve the quality, the transparency of these credits, and funnel a lot of financing to nature-based projects. So in 2019, it was a 1 billion market. In 2030, it's expected to be a 50 billion market. And this is really the low estimates. So you have like other studies by Barclays and so on estimating that the market will be way higher. But yeah, let's stay conservative. And then, with this rapid growth, we have a lack of supply. We can't, with the supply that we have, actually match demand. And why is that? Well, first of all, because this system is currently very exclusive, so you need to have very large projects of thousands of hectares. You cannot onboard small holders, typically. It's also super expensive. You have to put 50K upfront, or even more, like I'm discussing with project developers, they need to put $500,000 upfront before their project is even up and running. And it's also extremely slow. So if you register a project today, like see you in 2 years, and you might have a project that's registered and ready to start. So with Open Forest Protocol, OFP, we're basically removing these bottlenecks and solving these bottlenecks. So we're unlocking the supply and the potential of the voluntary carbon market by having built a system that is streamlining, digitizing the entire process from project registration to the issuance of credits. And we do this in a way that's inclusive for projects of any size, small size, large size. We do this in a way that's accessible. We remove a lot of the upfront costs. And we do it in a way that's fully transparent and data-backed. So each credit can be linked to a measurement. I'll show you how it works very briefly. So you first have the project registration. So you register your project. Not all projects are eligible, but you have to go through an assessment. It's pretty rapid. And then once you're in, you have to do ground monitoring. So it's data collection on the ground. You have to go to sample plots within your project area, measure trees, take photos to prove that things are growing in your project. And then you have this data, ground data, that is being verified by a network of validators. And this is also where we bring a lot of innovation, because in the current system, what you have is the project developer is paying the validator. So there's a conflict of interest. With OFP, we have this network of validators that are simultaneously evaluating the data and voting, saying, OK, this data is legitimate or it's not. And then you have a final decision. And if the data is validated by the validators, this is when you can have the issuance of carbon credits. And finally, the last step is like the full transparency for the full life cycle of the project. So project information, monitoring data, carbon credits issued, and the validation decision, everything is transparently displayed and can never be changed. So if we look at what's happening really on the ground, I'm an environmental engineer by training. I have a background also with supporting sustainable reforestation projects, so we really know how it works on the ground. And so we've built this user-friendly interface. We've standardized the way we do the monitoring to also help the validators more efficiently evaluate the data. And all this data, as I was saying, is displayed on the atlas. So it's basically a Google Maps interface where you have all the projects, when you can click on a project, view the location, exactly where it's located. You have all the project information. You have all the monitoring data. So typically, this project was denied because the data was not well collected, so the validation mechanism is working. And you can see all the tree-level data in the sample plots up until the tree photo. And so we've built this entire infrastructure. It's ready. The first credits will be issued beginning of next year. We're now fully onboarding the projects. We have 80 projects for 5,000 hectares, 70 in the pipeline for more than 90,000 hectares. There's a real demand to scale, basically, the supply. Think of it a little bit as Uber. If you had, before Uber, the taxis required a lot of fees to get the license. And then Uber came in, provided the infrastructure, and enabled you and me, of course, if you're not criminals, to be able to drive people. OFP provides kind of the same infrastructure and scale enablement. You had very large projects, very expensive projects that could access the VCM, and with OFP, you have this infrastructure that enables the scale and the massive onboarding of projects, small and medium and large-scale projects. And I often have this question, OK, but what's your demand? Do you have demand for your credits? And so this was one of the things that was easy to fix, actually, way easier than we thought, because of the high transparency and quality of the credits. So in a few months, 2 months, we were able to secure 15 million in offtake purchase agreements for the credits that will be issued. So this is way over what we'll be able to supply, but it signals that there's really a need for transparency and quality. And finally, the vision that we have, and that's super important. We built an infrastructure that is scalable to onboard small projects, medium projects, large projects, but also to build new verticals. So for the moment, we focus on afforestation, reforestation, but we're working on mangroves also, restoration, and you could also do biodiversity credits, typically. So all the core functions of data collection, data validation, issuance of assets, efficient offload to the market, this is available to scale new verticals. We'll also be open sourcing some of the infrastructure to enable third parties, eventually even verification standards that we have right now, to use the infrastructure, the transparent infrastructure that we have. And yeah, 2 months ago, we released our carbon methodology. So because of our commitment to transparency, everything is public. And we got really nice feedback from experts in the field, from universities, from credit rating agencies, and so on. And so I'm just putting one here because it comes from people that are really involved, in Africa and on the ground, that know what's happening. And for them, this solution is really a breakthrough proposition where it simplifies the project management, the data collection, and so on. It's more efficient, and it's more transparent. And this is what everybody is looking for, transparency and quality for small and large-scale projects. So I'll leave you with a few words from one of the webinars that we did with our project operators. And I think, it speaks better than myself for what we've built in our mission.
Actually, doing the measuring and the reporting is not a complicated process once they understand it, and it's very, very structured and very, very easy to follow, which is important from a verification perspective. OFP applications and platform has been proven to work for people who have limited IT skills, limited literacy. It is literally that simple.
So happy to talk, ask any question if you have, if you're interested in nature-based solution, in scaling our future, come and talk to me.